Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merits of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until the end of cyclic existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment.
With the determination to accomplish
the highest welfare for all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest among all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as an afflictive emotion arises, endangering myself and others, will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish beings of bad nature, and those pressed by strong sins and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure very difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly conceptions, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment.
The foundation of all
The qualities is the kind and venerable Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of the black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite convictions in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativities, and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Seeking samsaric pleasures is the door to all suffering. They are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate the strong wish for bliss and liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teachings is keeping the Brahmacharya vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all other migratory beings. Please bless me to see this train in the stream of Geshe, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop only bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with greater energy. Once I have pacified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of calm abiding and special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the 2 attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I have become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, the essence of the Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajrayana.
Now let us sit in silent meditation. Just sit in upright position. Relax yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, and then pay attention to your breathing. Inhale breathing, exhale breathing. moment, just watching your breath. Do not let your mind wander about past or about future hopes and anticipation. Remain still, very focused on your breathing. Have deep breath 2-3 times, and then continue to the original deep breathing. If it is shallow, let it be a shallow pace. If it's deep, let it be a deep pace. Remain totally focused on the breath. Inhale, breathing. Exhale, breathing. Feel totally relaxed. So, welcome everybody. So nice to see you all again. Maybe after 3 years, this year is the 4th year since I have not been able to come here. And so I'm very, very happy to see you all again this time. Yeah. Yeah, during these 3 years of my absence, as I had suggested, you have been gathering here to have discussions on the words of my perfect teacher, and also you have been gathering here to do Tonglen with Leader Marshall, and I'm also very sure that you all are doing your individual personal practices at your homes. So I'm very happy that these two programs have continued. Especially Tonglen has been continuing for such a very long time, even though I heard sometimes only few people could meet together, but still it is main, right? It's really a wonderful, wonderful practice in purifying one's own negativities and also in cultivating inner strength, inner courage, because in Tonglen, as you all know, I don't need to discuss, we are working on, taking upon the pains and sufferings of other sentient beings and sending our goodnesses to all the sentient beings. Just to have this kind of idea itself needs some kind of inner strength. Usually, I need happiness, others I don't care very much like that, but we have this tendency, idea. So when we reverse this kind of attitude, just having thought, it maybe it's wonderful, but it's beyond my practice or beyond my capability like that. So we just go on, not doing this kind of practicing, but we all have been practicing very much, and I'm sure this has benefited you in depth in so many ways in making your life more wonderful, joyful, and more courageous in relating with any kind of situation, because with this kind of practice you are from within inside you are kind of prepared to face the reality of the life. So I want to thank you everyone for participating in this practice. And then also now we have the words of my perfect teacher. That's really a wonderful teaching by Zapati Rinpoche. As you all know that he was one of the most respected Bodhisattva of our time, and His Holiness also has such a praise for this great master. And I read this. I also received the teaching from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the transmission, and also I've been reading this book quite some time and I find it so inspiring in cultivating and in deepening in my own individual practice. So that's such a wonderful book that you get to at least read it and have discussions, right? So it is, and today now maybe I think I have 4 or 5 weeks 4-5 times or like
5 sessions.
5
yeah.
sessions, 5 sessions. So, anyway, I'm fully retired. so, I, I got the retirement on the day of, on my birthday, last October 2nd. So, I'm old now, Yeah, so now 65 years, right? And I'm hoarse, right? 65 years. So going into 66. And it was really a memorable and wonderful day, the day of retirement, because, I served the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics and the College for Higher Tibetan Studies for 35 years. And during my 35 years, in the beginning, as an assistant in the office for my late master, Geshe, then as an assistant director for him, and then I continued as directorship for till 2014, and from 2014, as the other master passed away, so I took the charge, and then I became the director of the institute. So during the course of 35 years of my service for the Tibetan community, I can say that I was able to, I can say that it has been very challenging, sometimes difficult, but very, very fruitful, because I could carry on the vision of my late master Geshe Lobsang. He had a vision to, he had 3 visions. One vision is to produce as many as the hermits, real hermits who would go into mountains and practice their life in the mountains as hermits. And we counted, and we had produced at least 3-4 hermits, not many, not many. The second vision was to produce as many as scholars who would contribute to the preservation of Tibetan Buddhism, Buddhist culture, literature, and that. Yeah, in that field, I think IDG and the Sauder College has done a tremendous job in producing many scholars, many well-known scholars. I think like Jeffrey Hawkins and Gareth Sparkham, many Gavin Kitty, many George Dreyfus. When we talk about the foreign student Alan Wallace, many of these scholars were the project, or to name few, are from the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics. Now we also from Tibetan side, we have Tibetan professors, like Dr. Tenzin Dorji, who is at this UC Fullerton. He's recently appointed. 2 years back, he was appointed as the commissioner of the United States, United States International Religious Freedom Committee, and he served for 2 years. Then last year he was again nominated, and he is now the chair of this very important committee in America. And then we looked around, we found that he's the only Tibetan, I think, in the United States who could get this kind of position. No other Tibetans so far have, reached to that high stature. So like this, and then on my way to this, what we call, on my stay in San Francisco, I was invited to give a talk at University of San Francisco. University of San Francisco is a Jesuit run, and the assistant professor who holds the Himalayan chair for Himalayan studies is our former student. So happened to be our former student. So I'm so pleased. I gave a talk in his class. Yeah, very inspired, very encouraged. Like that, in this way, we have, during my tenureship, of course, with the help of so many, staff, individuals, supporters, like that, and of course through the blessing of His Holiness, I can say that we have made some significant contribution. And all the major, translators for His Holiness the Dalai Lama are from IBT, all major. Of course, Tubden Jimba is the principal translator. After that, we had Geshe who is the director of Tibetan Library of Works and Archives. He used to be the translator. And now present translator, Tsepa is the translator to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He's from IBT. Chinese translator is from IBT. Vietnamese translator is from IBT. German translator from IBT. And then I think the Spanish translator is also. And of course, Korean translator is from IBT. So in the field of academia, I feel that I made some contribution. So it was really joyful to, big ceremonies held, and both at the main IPT and also at the campus, our campus, a big, so many gifts were, and including 2 tangas signed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And then finally, myself and the new director, we got the audience, private audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Now I was able to offer my report, report to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So in this way, I'm now free. Totally free. Yeah. So I'm able to come here. Yeah. So the reason I have come here actually this time is to offer my thanks to the supporters and sponsors, friends like yourself, who have been, supporting the institute for so many years, and so I had to this time start from New York, where I have many our former students, and to thank them, and to Columbus, yeah, we have some friends there, and then LA, we have some friends there, Santa Fe, San Francisco, now I'm here, and then I'll fly to Atlanta, because we have some former students there, and of course Atlanta, Emory University and IPT long time, this affiliation. It's actually 20th year of our exchange program, yeah. So Geshe Lobsang, who is the chair of Emory Tibet Partnership, is also from the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, yeah. And And then Santa Fe, and then have some hot bath there because I like hot bath there, and maybe hot mud, mud. I have there. I have one very, very, very dear friend, long time, like who I met in 1983. So yeah, since then we have been friends. Such a good friend. And unfortunately, 2 years back, his wife passed away, and I could not come because of the visa. I could not come to her funeral and as well as memorial service. So this time I'm going to visit him and stay a few days with him before I go back to India. So this is my report to you. Okay. So with this, maybe we'll begin something. Have a discussion. Lama Tsongkhapa, this year actually is a very, very special year for Buddha Dharma in general, especially for the Gelupas, because Lama Tsongkhapa's 600 year of death anniversary is this year. I think in December, somewhere December, 600 year of his going into parinirvana. So from now many ceremonies, seminars are going to be held in this year. Especially, I think His Holiness is also going to visit South India to commemorate the 600 year of the parinirvana of Lama Tsongkhapa. And I think we are also doing small service to this, by reading Lama Tsongkhapa's text on the three principles of path, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, right. So before touching this teaching, I thought we should, in very brief, should discuss something on the Buddha Dharma teaching, in general, just in general, because have a kind of touch base of, of the Buddha Dharma, the Buddha's teaching. So I'm not going to detail any kind of historical aspects of the life of the Buddha, but as His Holiness says that the Pali teachings are the foundational teachings of Buddhism. Based on the Pali teachings, we built up Bodhisattva teachings, and along with we built up the Tantric teachings, right? So this means that we need to have a very profound, extensive, as well as very profound understanding of what Pali teaching is. His Holiness now has been really wonderful in categorizing Buddha Dharma. Buddha Dharma. In the past, we have the words like Hinayana, Mahayana, but His Holiness, has been always stressing the word Hinayana is not proper, nor Mahayana is also not, really, this kind of creates some kind of misunderstanding between, what is Hinayana, because Hinayana means kind of lower vehicle, as Mahayana, great vehicle, right? Something like a big vehicle, whatever, So His Holiness has really helped in my understanding in bringing the Pali tradition and the Nagendra tradition together, and living and sharing and creating a kind of wonderful harmony between these two traditions. What His Holiness mentions that is the Pali tradition and the Nalendra tradition. So Nalendra tradition is in Nalendra tradition we have the teachings in Sanskrit, where the Pali tradition we have the teachings in Pali language like that. So when the Buddha started to give the teaching, we must understand that he did not give teachings in Sanskrit. He gave teachings on, in whatever you call maybe Pali or what we call is the local dialect, right? He must give teachings on local dialect. Otherwise, at that time, what he was doing, we have to understand, after attaining enlightenment, then he moves into the forest. And then who he meets? Local people, right? He eventually met scholars of other traditions and like that. But in his travel, he meets with just local people. It's necessary for him to speak in local dialect, whether you call it Pali or another word or whatever. So local dialect, local language he spoke, right? So Pali is regarded as local language at that time. So he must have spoken in Pali language, like that, right? So if I speak, to you, if I speak Tibetan, you will not understand. You will immediately, leave. Right. You don't understand it. Right. So Buddha, since he's such a skillful teacher, right, he must speak according to the language the general public understands and according to the mental dispositions, inclinations, and like that, right. That's why slowly, his disciples went on increasing, thousands and thousands. Then eventually he had to start what we call as viharas. Viharas are, living place for monastics. Viharas means living place for create. He had to create sangha and living, especially because they follow him everywhere, right? So he had to create some place to stay there, to make, place to stay like that, right? So this is what just I wanted. So first thing what he spoke about is the Four Truths, right? And in Four Truths, the first is about, you all understand this, the truth of suffering. And when he touches on the topic of truth of suffering, he's just explaining to us what we are going through, in our daily life. He's explaining to us. He's not making anything new. He did not make anything new. He's just explaining what we are going through in our life, from the time of the birth until we, until we go into next life. What we are experiencing, changes in our physical, mental, as we get older, the hormonal changes, everything, he's explaining everything, what is actually happening within us. And then he's stressing, since these are the things, and we meet with, unwanted things. We are not meeting with wanted things, always being separated. And why such, things are, things we are experiencing, he's explaining to us, right? And then he touches the second topic of discussion is that's the cause of, the truth of cause, the cause of, the cause the causes and conditions. So in causes and conditions, when he explained, he's again not explaining something that is somewhere and it's not within us. He said causes are also within us. Causes are within us. The causes are, when he explains, stems from our, when he sums up, it's up from our ignorance, and then attachment, and then hatred and anger and so on. So all these, in other words, causes are also rooted in us. And then if he has left, okay, causes are with us, and if he has left and if he has stopped teaching, and it has not benefited us anyway, this, he will say, this I know, when I get angry, I'm feeling dumb, like that, you can say like that. When I get angry, my face becomes red. It's okay, I know it is like that, right? So anger, hatred, jealousy, all these causes, and explains that it rooted to our, what we call as self-grasping. When he hasn't left, he has touched these two very, very interesting points, and then he has said, now my teaching is finished, so let's go and have coffee, like that, That's okay, that doesn't make any meaning, right? That doesn't make any sense to us, right? So then he touches the third topic, that is the truth of the cessation. Then he, asks us, investigate. Okay, if ignorance is the cause of or affliction, mental affliction, whatever you say, ignorance, or the delusions, whatever, are the cause of these other afflictions and bring forth all these pains and sorrows. Now, investigate whether these afflictive emotions within us are kind of embedded intrinsically within our mind stream or not. He says, explore, find out. Then he says that they are not with our nature in our mind stream. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are unhappy, sometimes we are angry, sometimes we are not angry, sometimes we have full of warmth for ourselves, sometimes we are depressed, the warmness is gone. These all indicates that meeting with cause and conditions, certain cause and conditions, we get to see the rise of these, results, different results. Positive cause and conditions gives rise to positive results, whereas negative cause and conditions gives rise to negative results. And he says that, don't just focus internally. First find out what is externally happening. And by seeing the external cause and conditions, we can also, relate to what is happening within our internal process. When we sow the seed of apple, we'll get the apple tree. When we sow, spice, hot chili spice, jalapeno, right? And then we pray, please give me apple, tree. We'll never get the apple tree from, jalapeno seed, right? So we have to be, you need to use common sense. He said it. He didn't go into really heavy duty, things to, making us to, make our mind more, kind of foggy, making our mind foggy. He said, these are all things we know. So then, if these are the cases, this is the reality. Now, we can understand is that when certain cause and conditions are met, these results arise. When these causes and conditions are uprooted, these results don't arise. Simple. As simple as this. So that means everyone wants happiness and do not want suffering. We do not want any kind of pain. Even in our dreams, when we have some bad dream, then next day we are, freaked out. We say, oh, so, we feel sad. Because even in dreams, we didn't want, this any pain, any mental pain, any emotional pain, and any physical pain. So if we do not wish for physical pain, mental pain, and emotional pain, we need to cultivate the cause and conditions that would bring emotional happiness, mental happiness, physical happiness. That's simple. So emotional happiness comes from where? By cultivating positive emotion. By cultivating positive emotion, what happens? In reality, in our real life, we are able to reduce these negative emotions, such as hatred, attachment, anger, jealousy. And when these negative emotions are reduced, and eventually, especially in many cases when we make them not able to arise within us, we are happy. So the root cause of all these negative emotions is from the Buddhist perspective. Buddha stressed on that is the self-grasping. Right? So now, what is self-grasping? Whether this self-grasping can be uprooted from our mind stream or not. So here comes a very, very important topic of discussion, what we call in Buddhist teachings, such what we call is we need to discuss about the Rik, or we call the Buddha nature. Now, when we talk about Buddha nature, it is the emptiness nature of our mind stream. When the mind's, character is being empty of intrinsic reality or inherent existence, means mind can be, transformed. For example, if, where these days we are able to modify, there's modified genetic, what you call seeds there, right? Why we are able to modify the genetic seeds? Because the qualities, characteristics in these, seeds are changeable, transformable. So that's why scientists are able to change, modify some, whether it's going to be good or bad. We don't know. Now there's a lot of talk about, modified genetically, made. In India now there's a heavy talk on the modified genetically, made cotton seeds, like that. And then modified many genetic seeds, right? Yeah. So why they are able to modify, why they are able to go into the cell and transform, put something inside and get something out of it, is because the quality, whatever the characteristics within these seeds are not within the seed, they can be, that's why they can be modified. In a similar fashion, our mind stream, we get angry, we get, all kinds of, we live with all kinds of, afflictive emotions. But they are not within the, in other words, they are not one with the mind. Like, for example, not like, water and fluid, right? Water and fluid are one, right? You cannot separate fluid and water, you cannot separate. Until, when we try to spread the fluid, then, water is vanished, right? So, fire and the heat is like that, right? Nowadays, there is coal fire, I don't know, right? So, anyway, when we go investigate like that, then we see, oh, this is, this transformable, mendable, changeable. So then, Shakyamuni Buddha touched this very important topic when he spoke on the truth of the cessation. So then, this is the case, like the scientists modify. Then, what are the methods, tools in transforming, in mending our mind stream? So he explains, at that time, he did not go into so, I think bombastic words, difficult words to try. He just explained Eightfold Path, everyone knows Eightfold Path, right? If, for example, right speech, right livelihood, like that, Eightfold Path is there, right? Right action. So these three are included in what we call as three trainings, training in moral ethics. Then right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These are included in training in concentration when we talk about three trainings, right? And then right intention, and then right view or correct view. These are included in training in wisdom. So we need to train into Eightfold Path. In other words, training into threefold trainings. That training in moral ethics, training in concentration on meditation, and training in wisdom. And then he, along with giving guidelines in training into these three trainings, he also went on explaining to us that how ignorance brings forth the what we call as the next lives, higher rebirth, or lower realms like that, by explaining what we call as 12 linked dependent origination, right? 12 linked dependent origination. So these threefold trainings are the basis or the foundational practice of Mahayana practitioners. Based on these threefold trainings, then we go on. We'll be getting explanation there. We're working on, gaining realization of mind of realization. And then on the top of mind of realization, then we work on cultivating the mind of bodhicitta. Along with mind of bodhicitta, we cultivate the six perfections. And then we focus on achieving the state of enlightenment within this lifetime. And in achieving the state of enlightenment within this very life, we need to work on cultivating, in other words, work on manifesting the surplus mind and energy within us, surplus level of mind and energy within us. That this kind of work on manifesting within our mind stream is the tools and the methods are found in Tantra. That is why Tantric practice comes into has an important role to play when we work for achieving the Buddhahood within this very lifetime. So in this way, Buddha's teachings, when we sum up, as Lama Tsongkhapa has summed up, can be summed up into, three essential trainings or three essential trainings. That is cultivating the mind of renunciation, the cultivating the mind of bodhicitta, and then cultivating mind of the wisdom reality. So these are the three essential, what things that we need to will be discussing with the Lama Tsongkhapa's work, right? So then, now, when we discuss on the Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching on the three principles of the path, I want to briefly explain about the life history of Lama Tsongkhapa. Briefly explain about the life history. Lama Tsongkhapa was born in 1357 in eastern Tibet, in a valley called Onion Valley. Tsongkha. Tsongkha means onion, okay? I think there must grow a lot of tsongs, lot of onions, I think so. Yeah, a lot of onions, right? He was born in that valley in 1357 to a father who happened to be a Mongolian race, and his mother happened to be Tibetan. And so at the age of 3, Lama Tsongkhapa received what we call as the Yenyen Upasaka. Upasaka? Upasaka vow from Karma one of the Karma paths, Karma. And then at the age of 7, he received the Saramerika, what we call the novice monks, ordination from another very high Lama named Chichirin Kyuchu. And then at the age of 16, he left his hometown and started traveling to central Tibet. And it took almost 1 year to reach him to central Tibet. Yeah. And then in central Tibet, at that time, there was no Gelugpa tradition, right? Gelugpa was yet to be formed. Gelugpa sect or tradition was yet to be formed. So he went to search for the masters who would give him, different teachings. So he met one Sakya Lama. His name is Randawa. You forget the name. Okay, you don't need to write. Randawa. From him, he received teachings on pramana. That's on the epistemology and valid cognition and metaphysics and like that. And then there was a very, very respected Kajiva Lama. From him, he received the Paramita teachings and the Madhyamika teachings. And then there was another Nyingma Lama. From him, he received all the time very, very important tantric teachings like that. By the age when he was around 21 years of age, he had already become a very, very well-known scholar, teacher, and like that, right? And to make short, his teaching, to make short, his life history. To his credit, he wrote so many teachings. What we have is called 18 volumes of teachings by Lama Tsongkhapa. 18 volumes of teachings by Lama Tsongkhapa. Of all these teachings, we have the great treatise that's on Lamrim, the Lamrim Chemo, the great Lamrim Chemo, and then the middling Lamrim Chemo, and then the short Lamrim Chemo, and the shortest Lamrim Chemo is what we have here, right? And also the what we call the foundation of all exercises is also it's also a Lamrim teaching on Lamrim. What we have. It's, thank you for including this in the prayer. And then, so we have what we call as Lamrim Didun. We discussed this topic, this teaching sometime back. Lamrim Didun is a lines of experience, line of experience. Lama Tsongkhapa has written it in a very political way, very political way. So, Lamrim Didun, the line of experience, and these three principles of aspects of path goes very close to very close to each other, very close to each other, like this. And then Lama Tsongkhapa has written, Magrim Chemu, that is the stages of path to Tantra, Magrim Chemu, and then many commentaries on Tantra also like that. Right? So one of the, I think, most erudite, most learned, and most scholarly, and most how should I say, highly realized meditator that we have ever produced in the Tibetan tradition, one of the most like that. So then now with regard to the transmission of these three principles of aspects of path, three principles of the path, it is said that Lama Tsongkhapa received this teaching directly from Manjushri himself. So it is called as Nyegyu and Ringyu. We have two words. Nyegyu means close transmission, so close lineage transmission. So he received this teaching directly from Manjushri himself. Then the Ringyu means the what we call, ring means long, okay, the longer lineage and the short lineage, okay, short lineage. The longer lineage comes from this George Adisha himself, right? So Adisha happened to be around 10th century, and he was invited by a small, by a king who ruled a very small kingdom in the northwestern Tibet. Northwestern Tibet, Adisha was invited by this Kalsang, Geshe and Jiangchi. There were two, Jiangchi eventually invited him, whatever. So Adisha, during his course of stay in Tibet, this king requested to write something that is very suitable to the mental inclination of the Tibetan people. So Adisha wrote what we call as the lamp for the path to enlightenment. Lamp for the path to Jingchik Lamdren, a lamp for the path to enlightenment. So from this text stems all the major Lamrim teachings. This text is the root of all the major Lamrim teachings of Sakyapa, Nyingmapa, Kagyupa, Tilupa. All the Lamrim teachings are rooted to, are traced to this text with what we call as the Jangchuk Lamdren, lamp for the path to enlightenment. So, in this text, when we read it, we will find the cultivation of bodhicitta through the meditation, what we call as Gyungje Menga Dün. That means Gyungje Menga Dün means 7 cause and effect meditation. You know the 7 cause and effect meditation on cultivating mind of bodhicitta, right? From meditating that all the sentient beings been your mother, like at seven, we have this Marshepa, Jin Tenpa, Jin Soa, and Ninji, Kalsang, and then the mind of Bodhicitta, like mind, seeing all the sentient beings as your mothers, and Jin Tenpa, reflecting on their kindness, Jin Soa, paying for their kindness, repaying for their kindness, and cultivating, compassion, and cultivating special responsibility, which drives you, which inspires you for the cultivation of mind of bodhicitta. 7 cause and effect we call as mind in 7 cause and effect for the cultivation of bodhicitta, right? And then in this text, there's no specific explanation of the cultivation of mind of bodhicitta with the use of the tool, what we call as meditation on Dakshin Nyam Jie. Dakshin Nyam means equalizing self for others, right? Dakshin Jewa means exchanging self for others, right? This is a very, very specific practice of lodging practice. And in this text, there's no specific explanation of so both this 7-point mind, 7-point cause and effect is for the cultivation of mind bodhicitta, and Dakshin Nyamba and Jewa, that is equalizing self for others and exchanging self for others, also for the cultivation of mind bodhicitta. But the second one is more profound in the sense that every one of us is equal in wanting happiness and in not wanting suffering. And myself is just one single person. Why not? I share everything for them and bear upon all the sufferings, that the sentient beings, other sentient beings are suffering upon me. So that's we in other words, Dakshin Jewa comes with Dakshin Jewa. First is equalizing self for others. That is Dakshin Nyama. And Dakshin Jewa means exchanging self for others, then comes Tonglen. Right? With this, then we become courageous to take up the sufferings of other sentient beings upon us, and sending away, courageous to send away our good messages to other sentient beings. Right? So this is a very, 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 very specific, lodging training. So Atisha, he did not write anything about, he has not written anything about this training in the Land for the Path to Enlightenment, because this is a very, very powerful teaching and very, very specific teaching. Who have some courage to do this, only who has some courage to do this could understand this, could be able to cultivate this. Otherwise, general public won't be able to digest it. So exchanging self for others, and we have in the teachings, right? Means blame, take the blame, all the blame upon yourself. Be grateful to all the other sentient beings, right? How are we going to do this? When we have some mess in the kitchen, right? Who's going to blame? Who did this? Who did this? I did not do this. I haven't done this, right? Simple things, nobody wants to take up the, blame. It is, that's not right. Sometimes, if you see if there's no one to blame, maybe the dog did it, there's the dog, there's the dog to blame, It's our life, it's like this, right? Such an interesting teaching, right? So this teaching, in the beginning, Atisha did not give it publicly. Rather, he gave this teaching to his closest disciple named Damdul He was a lay student, lay person. He was not a monk even, but he was so devoted to the practice and devoted to the Adisha. So Adisha gave his Dhamma or Upadesh or this specific teaching, to Damdul. From Damdul also did not give it publicly, rather he gave it to his two closest three disciples. And Bodhava, Sharawa, and Geshe Langritamba. So Langritamba, we are reading the 8 verses of my training, right? Langritamba is this, Langritamba, right? So from Langritamba, then Geshe Chagawa wrote 8 verses of training, and then Geshe Chagawa, who later came to know about this teaching, and then he wrote what we call as the 7-point mind training, right? 7-point mind training, right? So what I'm saying is that in this teaching, so Lama Tsongkhapa has synthesized, brought these two villages of cultivation of mind of bodhicitta into one-fold training, right? One-fold training. Right? Makes sense, right? So this is a very, very powerful teaching, very, very powerful. Although it's very short, but very powerful, very, very helpful. And his words are so wonderful. The Tibetan words are here. Tibetan words are so. Each word is very powerful. Each word has some specific meaning. When we translate it into English, we lose this. It kind of dilutes, like coffee being diluted, right? Diluted, then so not sure, not so. I don't know, like that. So today already 8:30, right? So we stop here, and we will begin with this. So anyway, this is how all these teachings come upon to Lama Tsongkhapa, and then Lama Tsongkhapa, very, very. He lived only for 63 years, Lama Tsongkhapa, but then 18 volumes of texts.
Wow.
Amazing. And those days we didn't have laptop, right? Everything had to be done with had to be written with the hand. And then also after having written with the hand, then it's curved, right? Wooden blocks. Each of these wooden blocks, right?
Wow.
Right. Incredible. These days, we won't be able to do one word curving, right? We would rather ask the computer to do for us, Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop here, and we'll recite the closing prayers. Okay.
and Bodhisattvas, our gratitude for your teachers and teachings is as deep as the ocean. Please bless us with the presence of Geshe, Kalsang, Damdul for a long time to come, and remove any obstacles to our practice, so that he may continue to lead us and others along the path to enlightenment.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for setting up the chairs and tables. And Jack, thank you. Okay.
Do you have the capacity to get this all?
Thank you. Thank you.